Hey everyone, Liam here, and welcome to this match preview prediction for the match between Novak Djokovic and Jakub Mensik in the final of the Miami Open. Let's get into it. Before we get into the video, as always, if you enjoy the content on the channel, please like and subscribe. Really helps us grow the quality shot tennis community. We've got a very, very exciting final here in Miami. Both sides of the spectrum, you could say, between players. Obviously, Novak Djokovic being in his Masters 1000 final, going for a 41st title, whilst Jakub Mensik being in his first Masters 1000 final, going for his first title, and obviously being one of the youngest players to ever reach the Miami Open final. It's also quite fun because it's Novak against a player who has idolized Novak all of his life, and it's definitely going to be not a changing of the guards in that sense, but more of a showing the influence of the big three, and especially Novak, on the next generation, and really showcasing, it is tennis is shifting, and it's getting a lot more, a lot more young players, a lot more superstars from a young age, and it's great to see. Looking at the semi-finals coming into this one, I mean, let's start off with Jakub. I mean, Taylor Fritz, never an easy player to come up against, and he was clinical, especially in those tie breaks against Taylor. Just really hit his shots as well as he could, and just mentally was going for it. The serve is huge, and then the accuracy on the ground strokes and just the consistency is great as well, which is going to be extremely important coming into a final against one of the best returner ever on the tour. Novak, on the other hand, played against Grigor Dimitrov, and business as usual. It was a 12-1 head-to-head coming into it. It's a 13-1 head-to-head now. It's Dimitrov has played extremely well so all the tournaments, and he obviously made the final last year. He's just showed Dimitrov what levels there are to this game, and it's great to see Novak finding that level, especially before getting into the clay court season, because we saw him struggle last year in the clay court season. He lost in the semis of Monte Carlo to Ruud. Then when he got to Roland Garros, he had that injury on the knee, but then he came back to Roland Garros for the Paris Olympics and won gold. But in terms of ranking points, he didn't get as many ranking points as he would have liked during the clay court season last year, and he didn't get, he wasn't able to go as far as he would have liked to at the French Open. Hopefully, this year he can do that and really cement himself, up there in terms of, I'm still here to compete for these Grand Slam titles. Coming into this one, the head-to-head is 1-0 for Novak. I believe they met in the quarterfinals of Shanghai last year, if I'm correct. And obviously, Jakub won the first set in a tiebreak, which, as I said, in the tiebreaks that he played against Taylor Fritz, it was just completely dominant, strong from start to finish. And he did the same against Novak last year in Shanghai. But then the second and the third set, Novak just switched on the gears and just showed, okay, you know what? You showed your game, now let me show you my game, and he finally found his rhythm into the match and got control of it and got it done. I think it's one of those matchups here where, if we're talking a Jakub Mensik who has had a lot more experience in terms of, having played a few of these Masters 1000 finals or played big finals, then it's a different story. But this being his first ever Masters 1000 final, and it being against his idol, his childhood idol, is sort of I say a double-edged sword. You have the aspect of it being, okay, it's great because he's studied Novak's game, he knows how Novak plays, he's idolized Novak, so he's also adapted his game perhaps to play a little bit like Novak. But on the other hand, it's okay. Well, whoever you are, getting into your first final of a Masters 1000 or even any sort of final is always a bit of an overwhelming situation. You need to manage. There's a lot of nerves in the situation. There's a lot of tension in your body, and the fact that you are competing against a player who you've idolized all your life and know how good he is in these pressure moments, even at 38 years old, it's one of those things where you will have a lot of nerves and a lot more nerves because of it. So how will it play out? I personally think that Novak's going to win this one, and I think he's going to do it in straight sets. It probably will be tight sets. You could get a 6-4 or a 7-6, something like that. I don't think it will be lights out like he did against Grigor Dimitrov, but I think it will be a little bit tight. It will be in straight sets, in my opinion, just because of the fact that Novak seems to be in control of his game, of his serve, of his accuracy. I mean, there was that set against Sebastian Korda where he was 2-5 down, but he managed to come back from that and win it in a tiebreak. So, as long as he manages to hold his own serve, I think he will be good. Jakub is obviously a great talent and will be, continuing to grow throughout the season and throughout the years. But for now, I think Novak is still, Novak's still king in the tennis world. He's, you shouldn't write him off at all. So I think coming into this one, Novak's going to win it. Jakub's definitely going to have a great time because obviously, it's still a learning experience and something you can build upon. But I think Novak wins his 41st Masters 1000th title. And you know what? He goes into the clay court season with a lot of confidence.